everyone. This is Shannon from the Macedon Public Library, and I am here today to do a craft. We're going to be doing a DIY feather decoration. And this is an example of the project that we're going to be doing. And upon learning how to do this activity, I actually realized that this is macrame, which is really cool. I have never done macrame before, so this was my first time, but it's been something that I've been wanting to try for a while. So I thought this was actually a pretty easy project. So if you are also a beginner, I think this is a great project to start with. I'll give you an idea. This is what it looks like up against a wall. This is just a fun, easy craft for you guys to do at home. I did not actually use specific macrame string. I just used some 4-ply 100% cotton string that I had at my house. It was something that I had bought from Walmart a while ago, and so I just used regular old cotton string. So if you have macrame string at home, feel free to use that, but I just used regular cotton string you can buy from the store, and I thought it turned out great, and I like the look that it has. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so that we can get started, and I'll show you the video that I recorded with the instructions on how to do this activity. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and get my video up. There we go. All right, so let's get started. The materials that you're going to need for this project is some yarn. Again, I just used some cotton string. And this is the brand that I used. That one's upside down. So it's the Peaches and Cream, and I just got this from Walmart in the yarn section. 100% cotton, and then you're going to need some scissors, a ruler to measure out your yarn length, and then a stick or something that you want to attach your feather to. So if you have a dowel or something, I just used a stick because I thought it would look kind of cool. And then you also need a comb of some sort to brush out your string. So I'm going to take my ruler and get my string ready. And then I need to cut one piece of string that is 35 inches long. And this is for the base of our feather, so the middle piece of our feather. I measure out 35 inches and cut that off and set it aside. And now I need 30 pieces of string that is 8 inches long. So I need to cut 30 pieces of string that are 8 inches long. So I use my ruler to cut the first one, and then I actually use that one as a template, so I just measure my string against that one that I cut. So I just measure it again to make sure I'm at the right length. And I do it in bundles of little 3. I found if I did it more than that, then unconsciously my string would get off, would not be measured correctly. So periodically throughout my measuring, I would measure it against my ruler again just to make sure that it was consistently 8 inches long. So I have my 30 pieces of string and my long one, and we are ready to get started. So I grab my stick that I'm going to be using, and then my long piece of string I fold in half. So I lay my string over the top of my stick. Make sure it's even at the end. Again, I lay it over the top of my stick, and then I wrap it around the back, and I pull my 2 pieces of string through that loop, so pull it away from me. And this is a lark's head knot. So I pull that tight to make sure it's snug against my stick, and that's what it should look like. And I have my 2 pieces of string hanging. All right. So now we're ready to put our feather pieces on. I went ahead and I taped my stick to the table so that it wouldn't move around. The first demo that I did not tape my stick to the table, and it was moving all around and made it a little bit difficult to work with. So I definitely recommend taping it. So I take my 8-inch string and I fold it in half. I put it underneath my large string and then pull it through. And this is called a cow hitch knot. So it's basically the inverse of the lark head knot that we used for the long string. So I push it to the top and I make sure that it is tight. You don't need it to be super tight, just tight enough where it won't slip off and come undone. Again, I put it underneath and I pull it tight, and we are going to alternate from right to left. It doesn't matter what side you start on. In my first one I started on the left, and this one I started on the right, but you just want to make sure that you're alternating with each piece of string. So this one I'm going to put on the right side. I pull it through and I make sure the ends of my string is on the right side. I pull it snugly, make sure you pull it all the way to the top and that your knot lays flat and that your strings aren't twisted. You want to make sure that your strings are flat just to give it the best presentation. So we're going to continue this process for all 30 pieces of our string. That's the only knot you need to know for this project. So I sped up my video a little bit, but yeah, so I fold my piece of string in half, put it underneath, pull my ends through, and then make sure that I'm alternating left to right for each of my pieces of string. This whole project probably took me about an hour, so it's not too awful long. So once you put all of your pieces of string on, you then need to brush out your string. So I just used a regular hair comb, and I used the fine tooth comb. You can see that my comb is split. There's like a wider tooth and a finer tooth. The wider tooth one I found didn't do as good of a job. It just wasn't fine enough to separate the strings. So I definitely recommend using a fine tooth comb or something that you can brush out your string. You go ahead and do this for the whole length. And then the bottom string, your long string, I just cut it to length to match the length of my string and then brush that out as well. And so now I brush it kind of in the shape of my feather. So you want it to droop a little bit down to the bottom. And now we need to trim our string edges until you get a shape that you're happy with. You just kind of trim until you get it the way that you want it to look. I trimmed a lot for a while until I got the look that I wanted to. I definitely recommend trimming a little bit at a time. You can always trim more off, but once you trim it off, you can't put it back. So I recommend just doing a little bit at a time. This was the first trim that I did, and I just took the edges off to make it a straight line and get the general shape that I wanted it to look like. You want it in a curved shape from the top to the bottom to get that feather-like shape. Feather or like a leaf shape. That's my first cutting, and then I'm actually going to brush it out again. So after every trim, I brush it out to see what it looks like. So I took my tape off at this point so that I could move it around to cut at a different angle, because I wanted to flip it around to cut from the top down. So feel free to move your project around to get the best angle, and you want to try to keep your string lying flat and not bunched together so that your string doesn't get cut in a funny orientation. Again, I brushed out once I finished that one, and you can see that it wasn't even. And then for the top, you want to make sure that it's curved a little bit at the top. So I messed around with that for a little while to make sure it was how I wanted it to. And that is the finished product. So I put it up against the wall, and that's a close-up of what the knots look like in the string. And I thought it turned out really cool. I liked it a lot. And you can hang it up. And that is the end of that. I'm going to stop my share real quick. All right, so I hope that was a helpful video to teach you how to do this project. Again, this is my example. You can see that my string actually holds its shape pretty well. I didn't do anything to help it hold its shape. It's small enough where the the string doesn't droop too awful much, it's not too heavy. So I think this is a good size because it does hold its shape when you do hold it up. So you might have to mess with it for a little while to get it how you want it to look, but that should be your finished product. I think it turned out really cool. I have this one on a longer piece of, a longer stick. So my hope was to make a couple more and put them on here. So probably do the same size on this side and then maybe make a bigger one or maybe learn a new design or something. But yeah, this is a really cool decoration that you can make with just some string at home. I hope you guys enjoyed and you guys can make this cool decoration at home. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you again soon, okay? Bye.